Tony Alessandra. From the streets of New York City to the stages of corporate America.
You know that old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans? That is adaptability. Now, we accept that. We understand it. We embrace it when it comes to understanding international culture. But it is equally true, day to day, dealing internally, dealing externally, dealing with our own family, that we have to adjust our style. Of the two, parent and child, grandparent and grandchild, who has the better quality of communication? The grandparent and grandchild. Now why? The cynics say it's because the grandparent and grandchild share a common enemy. A lot of truth to that, I'll tell you. But if you really look closely, you will find that typically when the parent talks to the child, the parent tries to get the child up to the parent's level, whereas the grandparent does what? Goes down to the grandchild's level, physically, eye to eye, psychologically, emotionally. We call that adaptability. I will tell you this. You want to build one-to-one relationships with your customers, with your physicians. You want to build one-to-one relationships with your tag team member. You want to build one-to-one relationships at home with your family, friends. Develop more adaptability. Adaptability is your ability to change your approach, to change your style, depending on the situation or the person you're dealing with. 4 basic patterns. Directors, bottom line, no nonsense, get to the point, great administrators, delegators, but not very good listeners. Of all 4 styles, they are the worst listeners. Let me repeat that for them. Of all 4 styles, directors are the worst listeners, but there's a reason. They don't have time, and they already know the answer. Why listen? Thinkers are the great planners, problem solvers, organizers. They're great at creating systems. They're highly inventive, and they're very intellectual people. So if you want something done right, you give it to a thinker. Now, if you want it done on time, think again. Because they tend to procrastinate getting what? Finished. Because it has to be what? Perfect. Relators. They seek harmony. Close personal one-to-one relationships. They are the great team players, loyal, reliable, incredible listeners. They're the glue that holds a team or a relationship together. But I'll tell you what they don't like: conflict. They don't like to rock the boat. And as a result, they tend to go along with things. And it's very easy to hurt their feelings. But I'll tell you this, when you hurt their feelings even a little, they won't show it, you won't know it. But when they get out of your sight, the relator pulls out their little book, turns to the page with your name on it, and adds a check mark. Socializers. Their goal, fun, excitement, applause, visibility, recognition. And as a result, they talk a lot about their favorite subject, themselves. Generally speaking, socializers are generally speaking. That's because they have the gift of gab, the power of persuasion. They have the ability to get other people more excited about their ideas than even they are themselves. Socializers are the only group who could win an argument not knowing what they're talking about. People do things for their reasons, not yours. And that is why sometimes when you get so excited about a new product, a new service, you go out, you tell people, you're so passionate about it, they don't buy into it. You walk away scratching your head saying, you know, they don't have vision, they don't have insight, they don't get it. It's like we're blaming them. When in fact, maybe the problem was in describing how great this idea was, how great this product or program was, we described it in terms of how it moved and motivated us, rather than how it would move and motivate them.
Dr. Tony Alessandra grew up in the streets of New York. He began his study of people, their behaviors, and how to develop loyalty in the diversity of New York City. A graduate of the University of Notre Dame, where he excelled in the classroom and in sports, Tony went on to earn his MBA and PhD in marketing. A former graduate professor of marketing at the University of San Diego, Tony has written 14 books. including The Platinum Rule and The Art of Managing People. He's featured in numerous audio programs, including Nightingale Conant's enormously successful Relationship Strategies and The 10 Qualities of Charismatic People. Tony's numerous video and film projects include the 6-time international award-winning film, The Power of Listening, plus Disney Productions' Non-Manipulative Selling. In 1985, he was inducted into the Speakers Hall of Fame.
Now, they did not categorize their customers A, B, C like many businesses do. They come up with their own terminology based on that old Clint Eastwood movie. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, they wanted to keep and nurture. The bad, they wanted to keep but grow. The ugly, they basically didn't want anything to do with. They were losing money. What they did is they went to the money-losing customers and initially tried to change the nature of the relationship to make the relationship more profitable. Those that were unwilling, those customers, unwilling to change the nature of the relationship, whereby they would still stay unprofitable, they literally cut them loose, which gave them more time, more energy, more money, more focus on their best, top clients. But the key is, in order to exceed a customer's expectations, you actually have to do 3 things first. Number 1, you need to identify the customer's expectations, because a customer's expectations differs from customer A, B, C, D. If we're talking about being client-centered, focusing on their needs, their goals, their value, their expectations, it differs from one client to another. We need to know what those are. So we have to identify it. We need to make sure that we understand, identify the expectations, manage them so they're not too high. Because as good as we are, if expectations are too high, even SunTrust can't meet them. Third, we need to monitor them. Somebody mentioned before me, inspect what you expect. And if you could do all 3 of those, identify, manage, and monitor somebody's expectations, you have a pretty good chance of consistently exceeding those expectations. And if you do that, you create a customer. Anybody in the business of getting and keeping customers must go through 4 basic stairs of customer loyalty. We first have to find qualified, quality, profitable prospects. And we do that through mastering good marketing skills. Then through our selling skills, we have to convert the prospect into a sale. And then and only then do we create a customer. See, I believe it's very easy to make sales. All you have to do is overpromise and underdeliver. Anybody can sell anything once. Try to sell it a second time or a third time. Now you have to perform. You have to deliver. You have to exceed that customer's expectations. And ultimately, what we want to do, if we're talking about customer loyalty to the extreme, what we need to do is create apostles. And we do that through our relationship skills.
Tony has actively engaged audiences from a who's who's list of international organizations. I've heard Tony speak 3 times, and I enjoy him more each time. He's humorous, insightful, and interesting. Tony is outstanding. He achieved total audience participation. Everyone learned while having fun. A home run.
This should be the guiding philosophy of your relationship selling, needs-based edge program. In selling, as in medicine, prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Anybody who attempts to sell a solution to a client before fully understanding the client's needs from the client's point of view is engaging in sales malpractice. I think all the information that you will get from your clients will fall into one of 2 categories, and I think this makes life very simple. You're going to find that information where you can solve some problems for them, or you will find out some information where you can help them seize some opportunities. But all information in terms of customer needs, customer goals, what the customer values, will either be problems that you can help them solve or opportunities that you can help them seize. And that's what you should be thinking of. Is this a problem, an opportunity? Problem, opportunity. Go get your appointment book. You and I will sit down, we'll go through it page by page. And I want you to give me the names of all your friends who you believe should take advantage of the same opportunity you yourself took. Now notice how I asked. I did not ask, Rennell, do you have a book? No. Nor did I ask, Rennell, would you please get the book? No. This was Jersey. Rennell, get the book, let's sit down. Now, invariably, Rennell, somebody like Rennell would look at me and say, Tony, I can't get the book. I would say, what do you mean you can't get the book? You don't have a book? She'd say, yeah, I have a book, Tony. It's not that I can't get the book. I won't. I said, what do you mean you won't? What does that mean? She said, Tony, I won't get the book because I don't want you to do to my friends what you did to me. Hey, what did I do? She looked me right in the eye and said, Tony, you sold me. Now, that's what I was supposed to do. That's what I was taught to do, and I did it pretty well. But the way she said it had a very different meaning, didn't it? Tony, you sold me. See, people love to buy, but they never want to feel that they have been sold. When they feel they've been sold, they feel they've been had, taken advantage of. So he said to my wife, no problem, we could find you a one-story home. Do you mind if I ask? Why is it so important to you to have a one-story home? Good probe? Excellent. So here's what my wife said. She said, my mother lives with us. Now, he kind of looked at me. I'm Italian. I couldn't help it. I went like this. Couldn't help it. So she said, my mother lives with us. And my mother has a bad hip, and where we lived on the East Coast, her bedroom was upstairs. All the bedrooms were upstairs. And she had to walk up and down the stairs several times a day when she wanted to rest, and it was physically painful for her. I don't want to go through that anymore. She said, I want a one-story home. Now, just by probing and listening, what happens to your available inventory of solutions? Now what would you look for? Not just a one-story home, but what? Certain two-story homes that have my mother-in-law's bedroom on the first floor. So he said, you know, now that I know what it is you're trying to accomplish, not only can we find you a one-story home, but we can find you certain two-story homes where your mother's bedroom's on the first floor, master bedroom's on the second floor. Looked right at my wife and said, that way, your mother never, ever has to walk up and down the stairs again. And with that, she smiled. Then he looked at me and said, better yet, she can't. So we bought a three-story home.
For more information or to check Dr. Alessandra's availability for your next event, please contact the agent who provided you with this material.